What's up, everyone? It's Bryan here from the Exact IT Solutions YouTube channel, and welcome to our first video in October 2021, which is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And in today's video, we're going to talk about something very important around how the insurance companies are contributing to this ransomware and cyber criminal problem that we have. It's not something that gets often talked about, and in my opinion, the insurance industry is flexing their muscle a little bit in an area where they really don't have the gusto to be flexing that muscle. So we're going to get into that today and talk about it, and I'll let you know why that's important to you and why people need to be aware of what's going on out there with ransomware payments, insurance companies, and how they're handling all this stuff, because I think you're going to find some of this stuff very interesting and stuff that most people don't know. So let's jump into the content. All right, guys, up on the screen, I got an article here from Barron's, and it talks about this ransomware as a growing problem, and here's how the cyber insurance industry is fueling it. And I'm going to go through this article with you and show you some fairly important facts that I think most people aren't aware of and that are very important into this problem that we have with cyber criminals and ransomware, and how the game is kind of shifted to where it's almost like these insurance companies are working hand in hand with the cyber criminals in having all of this stuff go down. And the reason why this topic is important to me and why I'm kind of putting myself out there around this topic is because, you know, I'm friends with a lot of, this hasn't happened at my company, but it has happened to a lot of friends of mine. And what's happening is the insurance companies are actually coming to our industry or coming to companies in our industry and basically dictating to us what software and what tools we must have in place in order to get cyber insurance for our business or get E&O insurance for our business. Now, E&O insurance, if you don't know what that is, that's errors and omissions insurance, where basically if you give somebody bad advice or you fail to do something and a client decides to sue you, that's when your E&O insurance would kick in. And a lot of times, traditionally with IT companies, when they gave, you know, some kind of bad advice, or they may have done something improperly that caused a loss to their client's business, and they were sued or taken to court, you would file a claim with your E&O insurance, and that's why that insurance is there, to help you out in those types of situations. And the insurance industry is threatening my industry and companies in my industry, and telling them that, like, if you don't do these things, you're not going to get insurance from us. And that's a problem. And that's the wrong way to go about it. And here's why. Number one, the insurance industry is a mess when it comes to ransomware and cyber insurance. They have no clue what they're doing. They have no clue how to manage this, how to write it, how to make money from it. And they're constantly playing catch up, and they're the last ones to actually know what to do. They're not IT people, and that goes with the accounting industry too, trying to get in on things like compliance and auditing. And, you know, I've even seen some CPA firms spin up their own cybersecurity wing, thinking that they can do cybersecurity better than IT companies out there, which is not true. It's insane that they would even think that. There's a lot of good IT companies out there, and those IT companies for sure can handle this stuff way better than any insurance company and any accounting company that's on the planet today. I can tell you that right now. But the insurance companies sticking their neck out or flexing their muscles so far is a real problem, because they don't know what they're doing. And I'm going to prove that to you right now in this article. So the article starts out and says, ransomware extracted $18 billion in payments last year, and it's expected there will be an attack every 11 seconds by this year's end, a problem that some security experts and academic researchers say is exacerbated by the system meant to protect us against cybercrime. the insurance industry. So they're basically coming out, and I agree with them, and saying that the insurance industry is contributing to these massive payouts, these big numbers that we're seeing. And, they're right. The truth of the matter is here, guys, and I want to hear your opinions on this stuff too. Drop them in the comments. If you have experience either buying cyber insurance and getting it or being denied, have you seen your cyber insurance rates increase in the last year or two? Have you had to file a claim and maybe it was denied, and how did that process go and what did it look like? But at the end of the day, folks, this article right here and what goes into it, there's a lot to be said here. Now, the first problem that we have with cyber insurance is that there's data now that we've collected that proves that 32% of organizations with cyber insurance will pay the ransom, where only 15% of those who didn't have cyber insurance paid. So if you have cyber insurance, your likelihood of paying the ransom to get out of your situation is double, right? So that tells us a couple things. That tells us, one, that businesses' cybersecurity plans and prevention is nil. They're not trying to prevent it. They're just going to pay the money when it does happen and try to move on from it. And that's a big problem. When a customer knows they have insurance, they just say, let's pay the ransom. And they just pay it, and they don't need to do anything else. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's how these cyber insurance agents are out there selling this. And I've heard this from people where they said, well, I talked to a cyber insurance agent and he said, all I need is cyber insurance. I don't need to do anything else. I just need to get the cyber insurance policy. But here's the catch-22. When you fill out a cyber insurance policy, you're saying that you do X, Y, and Z. And if you didn't fill those things out correctly, these cyber insurance companies, the same people that sold you the policy, are going to come in and they're going to look at reasons and look for reasons to deny you this claim to be paid based on the things that you filled out in the application. And they hope they can find something that contradicts what you put in the app and then deny it based on the fact that you falsified your insurance application. And that's a big problem because we see an increasing number. It's not prevalent right now, but we see an increasing number of companies who are getting denied claims because of these reasons. And it doesn't have to be this way. You need to be able to protect and predict this stuff and be able to know what the risk is before you write these policies. And that's what these insurance companies are failing to do and failing to realize. And they have no clue. They have no clue right now how to measure this risk. And the insurance industry believes that there's no way to measure this risk. And I'm here to tell you right now, there's absolutely ways that this risk can be measured ahead of time before somebody gets an insurance policy. It's just that the insurance companies and the insurance underwriters are not listening to companies like mine when we come to them and we say to them, we have a way to identify the risk before you give them the policy. I've gone to insurance companies myself and I've pitched them this idea. Some of them have taken me up on it. Most of them haven't, because they think that they have a way that works for them, that makes them money, or at least they don't feel like the risk is great enough. And I'm here to tell you that the risk is great enough. And I'm going to show you some more information in this article that backs up what I'm saying here. So let's get into it. And the problem here, one of the problems that we're seeing is that they're calling this like the cottage industry of insurer-guided incident response. And that's what's going on here. Because when you sign an insurance policy, the insurance company is now in control of the incident response. And what's going on is these insurers are working with like 2 or 3 companies to do incident response. They have their select people, and most of the incident response that these insurance companies deal with give the incident response to these 2 or 3 companies. So let's talk about what that leads to. That leads to the same ransomware negotiators being involved in the ransom negotiations with the cyber criminals. So that leads with, the insurance company looks at this as like, oh, well, they trust those guys because there's a relationship there. Well, yeah, they trust those guys, but they also know that those guys are willing to do certain things in their negotiations. And the cyber criminals actually request certain negotiators because they like to work with them, or maybe they get a better payout when they work with these negotiators. But the problem is that insurance companies have picked their favorites, and there's only like 2 or 3. So it's the same guys showing up to do ransomware negotiations all the time with these cyber criminals, and they know each other and they have a relationship. And you know what that means? That means that the customer of the insurance company isn't, the benefit isn't with them. They're not working for them. These guys are working with the insurance companies to try to get this issue resolved as quickly as possible so they can move on and stop spending effort, time, money, and resources putting effort into this claim. They want to move on, stop losing money, because it doesn't cost the insurance company any money for the business to be down. They just have to put resources in place to deal with this problem, and the quicker that they can get those resources in and out, the better for the insurance company. And they really don't care what the number is that they pay to the cyber criminals. So in a way, the cyber criminals have a nice little pathway here to get paid for their criminal activity. And these ransomware negotiators for these insurance companies are basically, trained professionals to negotiate with criminals and pay criminals. And I don't know, that just doesn't sit well with me. The fact that you have, a few IT companies that are handpicked by the insurance industry to do this on the behalf of them and their clients. And the whole system is set up so, these people get paid, and the ransom or the insurance companies look at this and say, oh well, but these relationships that these negotiators have with the criminals allows us to know that we're actually going to get the data back, and it creates that trust relationship that we need in these types of negotiations. Well, I'm going to tell you right now that in the long run, that's not going to work. That's going to be a huge problem for everybody in the long run if the insurance industry is allowed to do this. So one last thing I want to talk about, guys, and again, I really would love to hear your thoughts on this and anything that you feel about this, and do you agree with me, disagree with me? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But and I'll link to this article in the description just so you can trust it out. But this article goes on and talks about the trust and then the ransom and repeat, because these guys are dealing with the same people. But towards the end of this article, this is what I want to leave you guys with and end the video with today. And that's, analysts expect premiums to decline and coverage to narrow, which means that you're going to pay more for cyber insurance and they're going to cover less things, like ransomware payments. I can see that being a thing that insurers stop doing very, very soon. As insurers have lost money during the recent ransomware surge, issue fewer policies and provide narrower coverage, which is absolutely true. They are trying to highly targeted industries, and my industry, they are trying to not write policies because that's just easier for them than working together with IT companies to figure out the best strategy. Everybody's trying to figure out how to do this on their own, and everybody knows that this cybersecurity stuff is a team sport. So if you're an insurance company or you're an accounting firm and you think you have a leg up on what you're doing around compliance, you don't. Most IT companies are way ahead of you on how to do this stuff, what to do. Stay in your lane, auditors, accounting people, stay in your lane, and insurance people. Work together with the professionals in the IT industry and figure out this problem together. It goes on to say, even so, ransomware is evolving and growing so rapidly that insurers have no reliable way to assess the risk. That is a outright lie. My company, Exact IT Solutions, can work with insurance companies and go in and assess their clients and tell them that what the risk is. We can tell you exactly where the risk is, what the risk is, how much risk is in this business, and that will tell you the right information. Right now, they're just sending their own clients self-assessment questionnaires, basically an Excel spreadsheet. What are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? And you hope that that person who fills that out actually knows what they're talking about and knows the technology well enough to where they can say, this is what we're doing, and answer these questions properly. I'm going to tell you right now, the ones that I've seen recently, most average business owners and business people cannot fill that out correctly. They need an IT professional to kind of translate and fill that out correctly on their behalf. We fill out all of our clients' cyber insurance policies because I don't want them incorrectly filling it out and then having a problem down the road if they ever need to use it. But the reality of it is that statement right there that I have highlighted on the screen is absolutely not true. And if you're in the insurance industry and you are listening or watching this video, that is not true. IT companies can assess a business's risk down to the last byte of information on their network. We know where to look. We know how to look. Now, whether you're working with the right IT company or not that has the expertise and experience to know how to do it the right way is a totally different conversation. I see IT companies out there all the time who say they're doing risk assessments and all they're doing is a simple dumb scan with one little tool. That is not a proper evaluation. It's a soup to nuts look at everything that you're doing, from not only your technology, but your physical perimeter access, your policies and procedures within your company. There's a lot of different things that go into an actual real cybersecurity assessment. You're going to probably see the people doing the assessment, the engineers, multiple times during the time frame of their process of doing their assessment, which should take weeks, not 1 day or 2 days. And there should be a full review process with the stakeholders of the company when it's all done, where the experts come in and say, okay, here are all the places that we found risk, and educating them on the level of risk. Is this, a high risk, a medium risk, a low risk? So these CEOs can start to gauge like, okay, we have some high risk, we have some medium risk, we have some low risk, or we have a lot of high risk, and we need to do something like soon. These are the conversations that need to have. But this was the chairman and CEO of Chubb, who's one of the largest cyber insurers in the country. And he said in July that the cyber insurance rates were still too low to account for the true risk of a catastrophic attack. Meaning they don't have enough money in the pool to pay for everything if the shit really hits the fan. And that's what he meant. And this is the view of the insurance industry as it stands today. Only just a short couple months ago in July, this was stated by Chubb, one of the largest cyber insurers on the planet. And I can tell you right now, this information, this article highlights how off the knowledge is around this stuff and what's available and who's out there with the expertise to help these companies. We need to come together. We need to bring it together. We need IT companies to work with accountants, to work with insurance companies, to help with compliance and get through audits and things like that. There is a role for everybody to play in this piece. But when I see insurance companies crossing the line of getting into what needs to be in the cybersecurity stack, or what tools you need to use or what you need to be doing, when they don't even know how to look for risk themselves and they're telling companies like mine how to do it, that's a problem. Same thing when I see accounting companies coming in. Yes, they know how to do auditing. They know how to look for things. They know how to make sure that things are being done, and checking for those things and checking for the evidence and checking the boxes. But they're not IT people. They don't understand the technology. They don't understand how this stuff works. And obviously, yes, they can bring in those experts, but there's not a lot of us out there. And most of the good ones that I know are running companies, or they're hackers themselves, or criminals themselves. It's just straight up how it is today. So that's what I wanted to leave you with today, folks. I wanted to educate you on this. This is going to be a big problem. But what a great way to start off Cybersecurity Awareness Month by just showing you like how screwed up things are right now with how we're dealing with ransomware. And, probably in the next couple of days, I'm going to do a video on what the government's doing and all their missteps around this stuff. Talk about the things that I see coming out of CISA that I think are really big missteps. Although they try to do a lot of good, there's a lot of confusion coming out of there too. And you talk about CMMC, which is like going to be the federal government's kind of cybersecurity model for making sure that everybody who supplies services and goods to the Department of Defense and our military are following some sort of cybersecurity standards, and that rollout has been a big mess. So I want everybody to get awareness not only about how to protect themselves, but what the heck is going on out there in the world, because these news articles and what you're going to see around cyber attacks is only going to increase in the next 6 to 9 months. And I don't really see it ending anytime in the next 5 to 10 years, because the things that are being talked about and the things that need to be rolled out and the shifts in mindset and thinking around this stuff across all businesses and industries needs to change so significantly that it's not going to be easy it's not a light switch it's going to flip on. It's going to take years for some of these companies to turn around their cybersecurity hygiene and how they do things and how they look at cybersecurity and technology in their business. So just wanted to leave you with that, and love to hear your thoughts on this, guys, and what you think about the state of the cybersecurity out there and this information that's on this Barron's article that I'm going to link to in the description. Check it out. Get yourself educated, and I'd love to hear comments and things from you about this down below in the comment section. So that's it for me. If you made it this far, like and subscribe. Love to have you as part of our channel and subscribed and hit that notification bell when I put out new videos and things like that. So have a good weekend, everyone. I'll see you next week, and welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness Month 2021.